It's been a while since I posted, but one project that I've been excited to work on is making over my sewing space. Here's the room at the beginning, my fresh start. One of the pieces I picked up was this cube organizer by Better Homes and Gardens. I have mine standing vertically, so I also picked up 2 fabric storage bins for the bottom level to keep out any dirt or dust. My hubby's working on assembling my desk, and we got my cutting table moved in already. Here's how everything's looking so far. This cube organizer is going to be my fabric storage. In the bottom left bin, I have all my swimwear fabric rolled up. And then on the other side, I have my lingerie making fabrics with the embroidered laces on top. I'm starting to get my fabrics folded and organized. I'm trying to get all my fabrics folded about the same size, so I cut out a piece of cardboard as a guide. There's something so satisfying about color organizing to me. My closet is color organized too. Anyways, here's a mini fabric tour. I should have figured this was going to happen. It's the perfect size cat cubby. I've had this 4-tier shelf for some time now and figured I'd update it with this really pretty pastel green. I used Rust-Oleum spray paint in the color Eucalyptus. I absolutely love how this piece came out. It's so cute and functional. In my sewing space at my old house, I had a pegboard to organize all my supplies, so I definitely wanted to add one to my new space. My hubby helped me map out where the pegboard will be hung. Then we've got these wood boards he's drilling into the wall. The pegboard gets drilled directly on top of those boards, leaving a gap for the pegboard accessories to be able to go into the holes. That's all finished and ready to be organized. My mint green shelf is finally dry and inside, and then above my pegboard I've got this wall shelf hung up. We spray painted the brackets gold to match my pegboard accessories. Everything on the desk still needs to be organized, but I've got my rug laid out, and this is the most comfortable chair. It's wide enough for me to sit cross-legged and feels divine on my lower back. These are the 6-inch pegboard shelf brackets. I've got 2 sets that we've painted gold, and below that I've got some wood my hubby has cut down to size that will be painted white. Both of these Hoyas came from Home Depot. The first one is variegated with pink leaves. That one I got during Christmas time, and the second more recently. I'm starting to get my pegboard organized. I knew I wanted one of my shelves to hold serger threads and then my thread rack below that. So on my wall shelf, I've got some of my books, a mini thread rack, and this picnic basket. My mom used to keep her sewing stuff in there, and she said I could have it, so now I've got my lace trims in there. I picked up these pastel cup holders for my pegboard to organize a bunch of my craft supplies like brushes, pencils, and markers. Next up, I've had these cute mini binder clips forever, and I'm using those to hang up my favorite pastel gouache paints. I have this 20 compartment mini organizer I'm making labels for. Aren't these stamps so cute? I think I got the stamps on Etsy or in a craft store. But back to this organizer, I'll link the brand in the description, but I found it at HomeGoods a couple years ago, and it's been perfect for all of my sewing tools and supplies. I picked up this mint green desktop organizer, and this is going on top of my spray painted shelf next to my desk. In the bottom drawer, I have all of my sewing needles. And then on top, there's some random sewing tools like rulers, hand sewing needles, and fray check. I remember seeing these crates online a few years back, and I finally got some. I love that you can fold them and stack them. In the top bin, I have grommet pliers, an extra pair of forceps, and then there's also a presser foot set. The bin below that has other craft supplies like planner stickers. Alright, here is a full view of the shelf. At the bottom are the rest of my sewing books, and then next to that, this 2-tier organizer with my art supplies. Above that, I have this woven bin with swimwear, rubber elastic, a knife sharpener, a lot of waistband elastics, there's a hot glue gun with glue sticks, and also shearing thread. I'm finishing up some art, and then I'm going to show you the rest of my pegboard organization. Below my paints, I've got my washi tapes. I love having these hung up on my pegboard. It's colorful and they're easy to grab. I've got mine on wooden dowels and hung on pegboard hooks. Alright, so here's how everything looks. In this middle section here, I have my planner, this mini cutting mat, acrylic rulers, and below that my loop turners, scissors, and rotary blade. And this is my draping tape for marking style lines on a dress form for pattern making. For my desktop, I bought this cute pink computer stand. I just really needed a spot for my laptop and all my tech gear. This is my laptop in its case, and then the bottom drawer stores my cords. This is one of my favorite finds. It's the Cobalt mini toolbox in the lighter pink. The top part has my bobbin cases. These have to be centered on the top for the lid to close, but otherwise fit great. This drawer has my most reached for sewing tools like my embroidery scissors, seam gauge rulers, and measuring tapes. Finally, the bottom has my serger tools, extra rotary blades, and a chalk sharpener. I get asked a lot, and my sewing machine is a Janome Memory Craft 10,000. I bought this secondhand. And then my serger is a portable Juki model MO644D. Underneath my desk, I have this vintage sewing box. This was another one of my mom's pieces she let me have. I'm pretty sure she said she thrifted this in the 80s, but I love how it expands out and how there's all these little compartments for storage. Right now I've got extra threads, bra making supplies like hook and eye closures, and in the middle section bias tapes, underwires, and then there's underwire channeling, and then more threads. The door to the left of my desk is the closet with a smaller set of drawers with extra fabrics in it there. And then in the gingham bins, I have my paper patterns organized by style. This is my vintage box. I couldn't find a date on this one, but I'm guessing it's 1950s. Above my paper patterns, I have these two expanding file folders. These house some of my smaller PDF patterns. This front one has my swimwear and lingerie patterns in it. Next to that, I have a binder with a random collection of patterns and sleeve protectors. For my large PDF patterns, I have those hung on pattern hooks. I have a large hole punch to make a hole on the pattern paper, and the bottom toggle end of the hook slips through the hole to hold the patterns. I have all my tech here on this shelf and down below, and then in the corner I have my ironing board that I move in the closet when it's not in use. At the very top shelf, I have some bins with extra supplies that I don't reach for too often. For my cutting table, I have a counter height dining table. I love this piece. It's solid wood with storage on the end here. At the bottom, I have journals and notebooks. Next to that is a bin with fold over elastic. On the second level, I have these floral acrylic bins with all my lingerie elastics in them. The top level has this bin filled with buttons still on the cards. Some of these are vintage, like this one from when buttons only cost 10 cents. And then I've got some tackle box type organizers. This first one was my mom's and still has some of her old buttons in it mixed with my newer ones I've bought. The green box has a couple of leftover pegboard accessories that I don't have up. And then this blue box has a bunch of hardware in it, like eyelets, grommets, toggles, just a little bit of everything. Next to my cutting table, I put up a command hook on my fabric organizer to hang up all my rulers so they're easy to access while I'm working. On top of my fabric organizer, I have my other two pastel crates, with a couple smaller patterns and then my fat quarters that I need to find some sewing inspiration to make something out of those. On this vintage mirror tray, I have some fancy stones that I use as pattern weights. I usually pull my ironing board out by my fabric organizer, so in this cubby I've got my iron, tailor hams, and a fat quarter I use as a pressing cloth. On the side of my organizer, I've got my extra cutting mats and my cardboard I use to fold my fabric. Now that my sewing room is so beautifully put together and organized, I'm feeling very inspired to get back to creating.